Greetings, fellow and future star citizens. Gray-headed gamer here, and welcome back to the third part of our CryEngine sandbox tutorial. We're going to put a little texture on the island and go ahead and drop our first item. I'm not going to get into big on actually sculpting the landscape. If you'd like to see that in a separate tutorial, I will do it, but want to get into actually putting assets on the island and showing how to fix the textures, because that's a big thing right now with the CryEngine, is the textures do not cross over well. So here we are. Back on our island. Let's bump the speed up to 10 real quick. Back up. Now, as you can tell, our island is a big square mass of land. That's not going to work. So the easiest way to take care of that is come up here to Terrain, Edit Terrain, and you have a button under Modify called Make Isle. Now, this is irreversible. So once you do this, you can't go back. So if you have an island you like, or a shape you like, and then you hit Make Isle, what it does is it reduces the edges and creates a slope into the ocean to give you that beach effect. Now, once you do that, like I said, it's done. So you can't go back. The only thing you can do, if you come up to Terrain, Edit Terrain, you can hit this button here and it clears everything. You go back to just an ocean. You got to start over. Now, there's a couple simple methods of making a real nice shaped island, and we'll go over that if you'd like to in a future tutorial. So right now, we have the checkerboarded island, and it's not going to work for us. So what we'll do is we'll come into Terrain, which is the second button over, and then your Layer Painter. Come down here to the default, which is what it is right now, and we're going to rename default to mud. Well, actually, we're going to get rid of that and then name it mud. First thing you want to do is change your layer texture. Now, it is actually on what we want, but you just click on Change Layer Texture, and it brings up these textures. The gray DDS is a good texture to use. It's a slightly bumpy texture, so it doesn't look just like a flat sheet of plywood or something. But you know, feel free to experiment with anything you want. There's lots of stuff, and that's the cool thing about this, is just experiment. Next, come up to your materials here, click on it, and you'll bring up a list. We want to go into the materials folder, and then we're going to drop down to terrain, which is actual CryEngine terrain textures, not Star Citizen. Come over here, and I'm going to select Mud 1. Now, you pick whatever you want. If you want grass, rocks, whatever you'd like, you know, you pick it. Once it's picked, exit out, come back to your layer painter, and here's your mud. We're going to double click on it, and then we will assign material here. And if you notice, everything changes to your mud texture instead of that crazy checkerboard. Now, it's going to default to this color here, so the best thing to do is click on your color, and we'll pick a nice muddy color like this. Hit OK, and then there's a way to flood the layer with that color. I can't remember how to do it, but just another easy way is just click the radius of your brush all the way up. Let's go ahead and come up here so you can see it. And once your brush is as big as the island right now, and you just click a couple times, and you know, if you lower the brush, you can see that's the size of your brush. But when you go up to super size, you know, it just does the entire island at once. And this is how you adjust the brush size here, and of course your hardness as far as like your opacity here. And then now we have, oh wait, look down here, there's the flood button. I'm such a ninny. So yeah, that would be the best way to do it. Once you pick your, let's go ahead and change the color to a little lighter color, hit OK, and then hit flood. Boink, there you go. And it floods the entire layer with that color. Now, you can also adjust it where it only goes up to a certain altitude. Right now, it's just going to paint everything because it goes from the 0 spot up to 1024. Same with slope. If you want it to stop at, say, a 45-degree angle, and you want the 45-degree angle to 90-degree angle to be a different texture and material, then you can change the slope here as well. So that's a basic overview on how to get rid of that crappy checkerboard material. Sorry, this is straight off the hip, no script, so I'm gonna make a lot of remarks. Now, just to show you how to add a second layer, what we'll do is we'll make a beach sand material just real quick. We're going to add a new layer here. So what you do is you click on your mud, and you're gonna have add layer over here in your layer tasks. So we add a layer. We're going to call it sand. Easy enough. Now you'll see how to start with an actual new layer. See, it has a default DDS. We want to go in and pick that gray DDS again. Bump over one, bump over. Oh, here it is. Okay. Sorry, guys. And then once we have gray DDS picked, we'll go up to materials, back into terrain, and then we'll do beach sand and hit the exit button, and then come back into layer painter. Here is sand. And now what we'll do is instead of assigning the layer, we want to change the altitude from 0, and I think our ocean level is 16, so we'll change that to 16. So 0 to 16 is going to be this sand color. Now we're going to change the color, get it off that bright white, make it a tad gray, and then flood. Oh, you know what I forgot to do is I come over here, sand, and assign material. Forgot about that. Got to assign the material, and then your sand is there, different than your mud. And of course, I got my speed up way too high. Where are we at? Here we go. So now you see that the sand down here transitions into the mud up here. And we can actually even change this to 17, bring it up a little higher, flood the layer. There we go. Now we have a sandy beach that transitions into the muddy terrain. And these hard lines here, there is, I'm sure, a way to get rid of that. I'm not super sure. Because, like I said, I am a total amateur at this. But I'm sure if we do some more looking into it, we can get rid of these sharp lines here. Maybe if we go into mud and change this to 17 as well. And flood it. Hello. That didn't work. Oh, dang it. That's right. I forgot to tell you about when you change the color of your dang stuff. Hit OK. Hit flood. There, it's back. You have to hit save layer or it won't save that color. Yeah, learn by your mistakes. So, no, that didn't take care of it. These crazy straight lines here. If anyone knows how to get rid of that, let me know. Hopefully someone more skilled will watch my tutorials just to find my mistakes. So that's something I need to take care of. Not really sure how to do that, but... So don't forget to save your layer or it won't save the color. So there we go. Our island has some texture, some color to it. Yeah, I know it's not perfect. But hey guys, that's just how it is. I've always said from the beginning, I am a complete amateur at this. So let's go ahead and drop an asset on real quick just so I can show you guys how to do it. Go to terrain, modify. I'm going to pick a height here. I'm going to pick this height right here. And then I'm going to go to flatten. And I'm going to flatten this area out. That way when I set something on there, it's not just a... it's not sitting on that curved land, which just makes it look odd. Then we can go to smooth, and you can, anytime you adjust your land, you can hit your smooth, come over, and it gets rid of the odd angles. So that way it has a nice slope to it. It's very slopish, as my wife would say. And then we'll go back over to your objects tab. Now, if you go to brush, this is something that was screwing some people up. If you go to brush, spaceships, and then down to your ships, and you say you want to pull out your MISC Freelancer. When you double click on it and bring it out, you have an untextured monstrosity, and it just, you can actually put the textures back on. You know what? These shadows are entirely too dark. Let's do the environmental probe real quick. And you also notice the frame rates are crappy with these style of ships here. But first, let's go over to miscellaneous. Let me open this roll-up bar a little bit more. An environmental probe. Now, what an environmental probe does is it takes a snapshot of the surrounding area. You want to put this about eye level, which is kind of tough to tell, but get it about here. This environmental probe, if you turn your helpers on, you can actually see it right here. Like I said, it takes a snapshot of the area, and this is what gives you reflections in glass and whatnot. Plus, it gives you a global lighting. So let me turn this helper off because that will kill your frame rates. You'll click on your environmental probe, and you have options over here. The first thing you want to do is increase the size of it. This is going to be your environmental probe for the entire island. So we're going to set this at 2000 by 2000 by 2000. Now that's going to cover the entire island. And when you go to the diffuse multiplier, that's how much light it's going to produce. So let's go ahead and bump this up to, let's say 3.5 for now. And we're going to come over here to the ship, and I'm going to show you what it does. You'll notice how dark these shadows are. They're insanely dark. And I fought with this forever. I was installing little lights and all. And finally, Fiendish Feather, my buddy, he sent me over to the manual and showed me environmental probes. So the first thing you're going to do is create cube map. Well, you'll see that flash of light. And it doesn't seem like it did anything because down here it's not active. Now once you activate it, there it goes. Okay. Now that it's activated, you'll notice that the shadows are much, much lighter. And now you can mess with the diffuse multiplier to get the lighting you like. And I usually go, I think, a 1.75. So you still have a darker underneath, a brighter top where the light's at, and then the shadows are not where they're just killing your actual asset. So with this freelancer, once you choose it, you come over here. This is your materials list for your freelancer. And you can actually go through and find the materials and textures for the freelancer. Going to object, and then down to your spaceships, and then down to ships, and then down to MISC, freelancer, and here are your two textures. Gives you the boxes and all, and you go up here to assign material. And there you go, the old school freelancer. But if you notice, it's missing your turrets. It's missing a lot of stuff, and it's a low kind of poly model that, as you can tell, it just really doesn't allow fluid movement. So the best way to do this is delete that freelancer, and instead of going to brush to pick your freelancer, go to geom entity. Now I would love to tell you the difference between brush and geom entity, but I cannot. But I can tell you that it's the best way to put your ships down. So you're going to come to spaceships, ships, just like you would for anything else. You'll have a better selection of ships, MISC, freelancer, and now you can see we have all the freelancers. Grab your max, drag it out, and boom, you have a full rendered beautiful freelancer max. So when you're going to choose your ships, you want to go through geom entity and not brush. So let's go into game mode, which is Control G. It'll drop you onto your island. There we go. And now we can actually walk around our ship like a first-person shooter where you just use your mouse to look. And the reflections in the steel are actual reflections of what's in your environment thanks to the environmental probe. Your lighting is done with the environmental probe. If you'll see the reflection on the bottom of the ship is that tannish mud. That's where that comes from, is that environmental probe. So here you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little quick tutorial. I know it's kind of, I'm not the best tutorial guy, and I apologize in advance. But I hope it helps you some to get started. The next thing we'll do is we'll go and we'll drop some actual assets as far as walls and floors. Maybe not going actually into building a building, but we'll drop some stuff down because there are textures in game that have a yellowish tint to it, and we'll go in on how to go into the materials and actually fix the swapping materials that happens when you take the assets and put them into our version of CryEngine. Like I said before, the CryEngine that CIG uses is totally different. So we have to fix a little swap up in the TIFF files. And it was really overwhelming at first, but it's super easy. Once I did it a few times, there's a quick and easy way. You go through, boom, 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 and it's right back to where it should be. So thanks for joining me again, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and we will get into more texture manipulation next one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out all the other Star Citizen YouTubers out there. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video. Get it out there. Big thanks to my Patreons, and I will see you guys later.